Hi, my name is Mary McCrease, and today I will be reviewing an analysis on seasonal events and style features at the Dram Shop, a local growler fill station and tap room here in Missoula, Montana. In this presentation, I will cover the agenda you see on the slide with an emphasis on the objective of our analysis, the analysis itself, and key insights we gained. The Dram Shop is a fairly new business and has started hosting events within the last 18 months. The main objective of this analysis is to determine if these events have an impact on net sales. More specifically, we are interested in providing insight on which types of events have a larger impact on net sales and what specific events were the most successful in 2017. Identifying answers to these key business questions will allow the Dram Shop to better understand how impactful hosting events is on their net sales and which events are most popular in the Missoula area. In order to answer the posed questions, it's important to be able to estimate the impact of each specific event type on net sales. We can do this by creating a linear regression model, which will allow us to assess the impact of each variable holding all others constant. Prior to running the analysis, it is important to gain a basic understanding of the data, identify any gaps, and then make adjustments. A few adjustments that were made before performing the analysis were separating some of the variables and adding event type and filling in event names. Cleaning data is an important part of the data analysis because we need to ensure that the model contains valid variables that account for a significant amount of variance in the response variable, which in our case is net sales. While making adjustments, the following assumptions were made. Each event's active timeframe was the exact dates specified on the Dram Shop Facebook events page. And net sales for two events that were held on the same day could not be attributed precisely to one event, so they were classified under a separate event type called multiple events. Given the data provided and the objective of this analysis, we looked at 5 primary variables: net sales, day of week, month, Facebook ad spend, and event type for 2017. Now that we've discussed our objective and our methodology, we can move into the analysis. When looking at the initial analysis of the data, we identified a few key points. First, seasonal events leading up to October 2017 make up approximately 9% of the Dram Shop's total sales. Additionally, tap takeovers seem to be among the more popular events with higher net sales. Let's take a look at this visually. So looking at the events in the last year, you can see there's a variance in net sales by event type. This is shown by higher spikes on days that certain events were held. For example, if you look at the 6 events that we've identified on this chart, you can see that the Western Cider Tap Takeover had the highest net sales at $2,341 and accounted for 52% of total daily sales. Another event is the Odell Brewing Company Takeover, and that had a slightly lower impact on net sales at $1,131, but still accounted for 42% of the total daily sales. Now that we have identified that events seem to have an impact on net sales, we can use a regression to understand if the relationship between net sales and certain variables, in this case day of week, month, event type, and Facebook ad spend, is significant, and if the variables being looked at do a good job of explaining how net sales vary as each variable changes. Using these variables in a regression model resulted in a low p-value and high R-squared, which show that it is significant and the variables within the model explain a high amount of variance in net sales. To better understand how the regression model allows us to isolate variables and determine their individual impact, we can look at a few examples as to how the change in a single variable impacts the predicted net sales. Let's start by looking at an example of day of the week. When looking at the chart on the right, we can see how the predicted net sales change by month depending on a specific day of the week. The blue bar chart depicts the predicted change in net sales when looking at an average Thursday in each month, when no event is scheduled and no Facebook advertisement spend was made. In comparison, the gray line shows the predicted net sales for an average Monday each month based on the same criteria. This comparison allows us to isolate the change in predicted net sales by weekday and then determine that an average Thursday is predicted to bring in $561 more than a Monday in each given month, holding everything else constant. Similar to the previous example, when looking at how a specific month impacts the predicted sales versus a week, you can see that holding all other variables constant, August is predicted to bring in an average of $502 more per day than in January. Let's remember that when we say holding all other variables constant, what we mean is that the comparison between August and January is looking at the same given day in the month where no event is scheduled and no Facebook advertisement spent has been made. We can now use the same logic to understand the impact of each event type on net sales, which will allow us to provide insight on our main objective, determining if events and which specific events have a significant impact on net sales. Looking at this chart, we can see how the estimated net sales for a day vary for a given event type while controlling for the other variables in the model. The light blue bars for each event type represent the standard error from the estimated total. So you can see that the Dram Shop anniversary had the highest estimated impact on net sales, but the anniversary only occurs once a year. So it's more relevant to take a look at the impact of an event that occurs more frequently throughout the year. Tap takeovers show the next highest impact on estimated net sales, closely followed by a day with multiple events, and then wine tastings. It's clear from the visual that certain events do have a greater daily impact on predicted net sales and can be useful when measuring event success. To better understand each event, we can take a closer look at key insights for some of the more impactful event types: style features, tap takeovers, and wine tastings. A style feature is a week-long event featuring specific types of beer. Based on the regression analysis, we can see that on average, a style feature increases predicted net sales by $108 per day, given the same month and day of the week with zero Facebook spend. Looking at specific style features throughout 2017, Oktoberfest, Stout, and Sour Weeks were the most popular and on average accounted for a high percentage of net sales over the course of the week. When looking at tap takeovers based on the model, on average, a tap takeover increases predicted net sales by $676, holding all other variables constant. This is quite a significant increase, and when comparing the predicted increase on net sales between style features and tap takeovers, we can note that on a daily basis, tap takeovers have a higher predicted increase in net sales. Also, simply looking at net sales for highest event in each category, net sales attributed to Oktoberfest for the week totaled $4,895, while the Western Cider Tap Takeover had total sales of $2,341 in just one day. Similarly, wine tastings, another daily event, on average are predicted to increase net sales by $576. Just an interesting note, based on 7 wine tasting events that occurred on a day where there was no other events, there was about $4,300 in net sales, and the most popular wine tasting this year was picnic wines. So just to wrap up, it's clear that each of these different events produced a different predicted increase on net sales, and tap takeovers had the highest impact based on our regression model. So now we're going to switch gears and take a look at how Facebook advertisement spend impacted net sales in 2017. In the original regression model, Facebook ad spend wasn't a significant variable, which is likely because not all event types are promoted. Using a model which excluded event type and simply included an event indicator, it became a somewhat significant variable in terms of impact on net sales. To interpret the predicted impact, we can say that for every $1 spent on Facebook advertising, the average net sales increased by $13, holding all other variables constant. It's important to note there is a bit of a standard error range here, so that number could increase or decrease by about $6. These results indicate that money spent by the Dram Shop on Facebook advertising is somewhat likely to have a return on investment and increase sales. So moving forward, it's smart for them to continue to spend on this platform. Based on the analysis we've conducted, we can conclude that seasonal events do have a significant impact on net sales, and specific event types have different impacts on predicted net sales. Specifically, tap takeovers, wine tastings, and style events all showed a significant increase in predicted net sales, and tap takeovers were the recurring event that had the highest daily impact. Additionally, we found that promoting events on Facebook was likely to lead to an increase in net sales, and the Dram Shop should continue to spend money promoting on this platform. In conclusion, we hope that the Dram Shop can benefit from these findings and use the key insights to make more informed decisions regarding events in the future. Thank you so much.